area go through. Okay, we very quickly go through all the sections, right, today, touching on the sub 1 to 12 and how this will apply. Okay, and let notes actually go along as well. Okay, so the first section we deal with fundamentals of strategic management. Okay, and here we talk about. Let me hand green so that you can see. Right. What we talk here is strategy formation, a strategy, who is responsible, right? Talk about source-based, position-based strategy, right? And what type of model that we will use? Is it rational, emergent, freewheeling opportunism? And the of management accountants in strategy development. Right? So this is the first section of our 3 book, right? And they go quite quickly into managing the business strategy. Okay, now we need to apply this into our study, mainly because we need to kind of focus on what type of strategy would these guys develop. So that will be one of the key things that we have to understand and say, okay, so what strategy would they develop? What strategy?
You mean the rational model instead?
Sorry?
You mean the rational model or the pre-emergent one?
So we may think it's a rational model as well as emergent, right? So might be between these two. Anything from you, Tarun?
No.
And this is, why did you say rational or the emergent? So let me go into the rational model very quickly, right? It gives a very good structure, right? It does a long time. It's quite formal. And the reason that Swati would have chosen this is because even it's in a fashion industry, it's a very, very large company. It's got many stores, got a lot of it's listed stock exchange, and it's expanded globally. Very complex supply chain, many number of products. The advantage is it forces the whole system to think, right? Decision making. You almost targets, right? Enforces organizational coherence and coordination. Now, I think these ones are quite important for us, right? Because our organization is quite large. What are views, Tarun, on this?
The purpose of organization is to look at expansion, right?
Yes.
That's one of the strategies. So I don't into this model. We identify risks and opportunities.
Yes.
And another thing is, this model assumes that you should know everything. And the management might not know everything about the different markets.
Okay. Swati, what do you think?
To an extent, rational model is good, but each model has its own benefits and its own disadvantages. So the disadvantage of rational model would be that they wouldn't know what's coming up for them.
Yes. The advantage is that agility is isn't it? Because you're in the fashion industry, so that agility. So there are certain advantages, isn't it? Main right to the success of the organization, size, complexity. What about is required? Right. And this is a bit of a question mark when it comes to rational model, right? That's the reason why you're thinking of an emergent strategy, okay? Model, again, it shows that structure, right? Very structured manner that you will go through. And then it go next page as well. About the alternate strategies, which is free-wheeling opportunism, incrementalism, bounded rationality, right? Along with, we will also have emergent strategy. And I want to elaborate a bit more on the emergent strategy.
More like go with the day-to-day life, and whatever comes up based on that, we finally end up building up a firm strategy. Under opportunism, which is continuously going from activities, and we learn on that, and then we grab the opportunities and stuff. Emerging would be like a mixture of rational with freewheeling. So it's like you learn from your actions in whatever you do, your performance or not. Then you create a strategy at the end.
Right. Okay. Sharon, does that make sense here?
I think that's yeah. It's basically no fixed strategy, but you evolve, right, as you go along. You might find issues, and then you adopt. Basically, you have new strategies.
Freewheeling opportunism, we talk about flexible, inclusive, undisciplined, and uncoordinated, reacting rather than acting. Okay, so as it comes along, develop it, right? But in emergent strategy, what is the key difference that you can see, Swati? One key difference here.
It is not that it's not flexible as much as freewheeling opportunism.
It's not that radical, isn't it?
Right.
So, patterns of behavior rather than being imposed. So we're kind of going in between strategies, right? Because of the industry we are in.
Right.
So into resource-based strategies. Yeah, I'm just skipping here just to go through areas very quickly. What's the accountant's role here? What would you as management account? So that's a key one for you. Right. In this video's case, when you're trying to develop a strategy, I think you would be like one of the members. Remember, you will be a key manager, a key stakeholder in developing these strategies. Okay, it's not that you're going to develop the whole strategy on your own and then direct other people, but you'll be one of the key stakeholders in developing the strategy. So what else?
Risk, we need for risk.
What we will do is formulate a structure identification. And manage. Your role is you kind of, you're like this kind of orchestra, you're bringing things together. It's not you will be able to do everything, but you bring things together. What else would you do? Look at the environment. I mean, you're gonna be looking at data, right? You need a lot of data. So you're a senior management accountant, right? So you will be looking at this designing systems, recording of information. So basically, design of the systems. Take a stage for you. Remember, management accountants deal with a lot of information externally as well as information from the future, right? So it's not only the past information that you capture from your financial statements or otherwise is just a small fraction of what you will be basing your ideas or and advice on. You will be gathering a lot of information from the other areas, right? External as well as internal, but future plans. Else. Anything that they can do in Rio. So, finance manager who works for Rio reports directly to director. Okay, projects and strategic matters. So definitely, this is your role. Then performance measures, right? So reporting. And we talk about establish CSR reporting, global reporting initiative. So you guys looked at global reporting initiative? Anything there?
Yeah, discussed last time, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I don't go one because we will come through this in a later stage, right? But it's given, and let's go to the next area. Corporate governance, roles and responsibilities of directors. Now, this will definitely be a big part, right? Now, you will have committees that you can talk about, right? Different committees. How many committees, Swati?
Committee?
Yes.
Risk committee, nomination committee, and a committee for remuneration.
So currently we have these 4, but maybe you can have additional committees. There's nothing. What they is at least minimum have these 4 committees, right? But a couple of things that come to mind is CSR, right? A committee for CSR as well, okay? It come to mind.
You strategy committee as well, strategy team or whatever. We are looking into expansion and the industry is so dynamic.
Maybe due to dynamic industry. Right. Look is that we have sufficient non-executive directors. So NEDs, right? Non-executive directors and their roles. So how executives do that? So currently, we have 7 directors. Okay, well represented, right? And what we is how many, where they clearly stated how many committees they've got. Any idea? Right. The number of committees that they've got. Have they stated the number of committees that they've got?
I don't think so.
Right. So it might be something that will come into your unseen. Right. I mean, they've got quite a number of data. They will definitely ask in any one of the variants. They'll ask about the composition of the data and the improvements that you can suggest, as well as they can also ask about the committees, because they've not specifically stated about the number of committees that they've got. However, they've stated very clearly they've got 7 non-executive directors, right? Any other things, Swati, that you can come up with? Anything in it and or with respect to the committees?
There's one thing, because they have like 7 NEDs and they have 4 executive directors.
Yes.
It's an issue because the NEDs are like far more than the executive.
Good question, right? So we've got 7 NEDs and 4 directors, right? 7 is in question, right? The question of directors. So I will come this and with this one, okay? Because we've got 7 NEDs, 4 executive. Then some of the issues related to it. I'm just saying, well, executive directors primarily, what is their role? Okay, because executive directors' role will constitute. Let me go in very quickly. Stated here in one of the executive director's role is primarily dealing with operations of the company, right? And they basically need to be responsible for the operations of the company. In this case, what we're saying is we are seeing a growth in the company, but we see only 4 directors. So there is an opportunity for more directors to come on board, right? To come on board because of the growth in the company. Any others?
Wait, I think I've made a mistake. There are 6 in executive directors, right? Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. Executive directors are there.
I think there are 6. I said the head as the executive directors by mistake.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we can
the
see.
Competition is perfect. Then.
Right? So still, when we look at the composition and then we look at, well, big growth, is what do these guys do specifically, right? So what we will do a little bit later to see what exactly these guys do. Are they covering the key components of our organization, key strategic components of the organization? Right? That's for me a key question to say, well, let's very quickly go into our composition of directors, right? And let's
actually it's directors and then including Rita and effective care.
okay. So what exactly do these 8 guys do then?
So you have human resources, procurement, IT, marketing, logistics, finance, and obviously CEO.
Procurement, human resources, right?
Mm.
We have any missing here? Swati, anybody else? I see one area that's kind of not you don't have a director there for that, and that is to fund CSR. Okay, sustainability. A big role, right? Going across the organization. Right? So I'm looking at a director who would focus on this specifically. What are you on?
Right reports under procurement.
Yes.
Yeah. Possibly dependent. I guess, like in our company, we have a still function separately, and that this person sits on the board. The CSR really falls under the person, which is like the function is called business reputation and responsibility.
Right.
Governance and ethics.
It's interesting. In your company, it's under legal, whereas in this company, it's under procurement. So they think only the procurement side of it has CSR.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, that's their kind of view. But CSR, sustainability, they go across the organization and touch every aspect of it. And yes, it has a legal flavor to it. But this is something that you can argue and state quite well that you may even need one director, right, focusing exclusively on CSR. I'm saying CSR sustainability mainly because of the prominence it's getting in the recent years, right? CSR sustainability was not such a hot topic 20 years ago, but it's come to the forefront now. It's playing a major role where CSR reporting becomes compulsory, right? Well, people's KPIs are linked to CSR sustainability projects and how they are behaving. So things have changed quite a bit. That's why I'm looking at a separate director for this and can justify that as well. Okay. Let's go into the action. Very good. Responsibility. Are you clear about that? Okay. Tarun?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Let's do the next one. Core objectives and stakeholders. And so this again, we talk about the ethics. Again, talk about sustainability. So let's quickly go into through the areas. Now, all we will find from here on, from the first onwards, everything actually links to your mission and your goals, right? Your resource planning, and if it's your IT planning, if it's your HR, marketing, everything is linked to the mission of the company and the growth and you're planning on doing. Okay. What are goals and objectives have to be quite clear, and small goals, basically they should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. That does not make any sense to you, and this is where you can have KPIs linked as well, right? KPIs, you can talk about a balanced scorecard. You can talk about to the company's plus their remuneration, right? What are your critical success factors, right? Long-term, short-term critical success factors, right? But in our case, if we look at our area, what would be some of the KPIs? So where would the KPI sit under? So I think to another ones, let's say profitability, right? We will talk about that, profitability, of course. Yeah, what else would you have?
In the 5 years plan and the financial reports, it's
Yes.
there, right? Number of stores, I guess, the normal KPIs.
Okay.
Again, can as well. Gross margin, operating profit margin.
Yeah.
These are pretty standard.
Yes, these are pretty standard. Yes, correct. Short and long-term goals, right? I will put here. Is again, you will have KPI related to sustainability. Right? That will take a center stage. Right. KPI funding costs, fund and associated costs. Huge amount of funding going through now, because this is a large company and you're in the constant mode of growth. Okay, and then you have funding and the related costs related to it. And
I think it could be also new product lines and
new products, market share, right? Related to price. So one of the, we can link is technology, net sales, so down and see where. Here you go. So it's all of your KPIs have to link to the critical success factors and mission of the organization. That's how it has to flow through. Okay. Our stakeholders. We will have quite a number of stakeholders, right? We will have a significant number of stakeholders that we have to deal with. So stakeholders have you done stakeholder analysis? Like Mandelow's matrix. Is Mandelow's matrix. What I would suggest is do the Mandelow's matrix as homework, right? And then try to slot in the stakeholders, right? And this is another point that we can discuss today, right? In tonight's class. Right? Matrix and identify the key stakeholders, okay? Because we huge operations. So therefore, it is important that we focus on our stakeholders and come up with strategies on how to work with stakeholders, right? Then here's those metrics. So, like I said, let you have to do this on your own. Okay. At the end, these are some of the key things that they may ask you to work with your stakeholders, right? There could be a scenario where certain stakeholders who are very strong in their vision has a negative view of your company. Right? Have any examples, Tarun, in your company?
We are important shareholders, right? Because we're a listed company. So you communicate with the shareholders through the analyst, covering the stock.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really important. I think a head office keeps in mind, and then whenever they have a quarterly results, they organize an analyst call and give them flavor of our strategy and what's happening around in the market where you operate and the it looks like.
Right. Right. Anything that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I think shareholders is pretty important because we need to know whom in a way we should react to what of stakeholders. And
yes.
So we need to set strategies.
Mm-hmm. Right, because we are having quite a number of stakeholders. Okay, I want you to do this as your homework. Identify the stakeholders in our case study. Come up with strategies. So don't come up with only the important ones, right? So put them into the 4 quadrants, identify them, and then say, okay, what type of strategies would you use to practically communicate with these stakeholders? Okay, what are some of the typical issues that you will come across? Okay, so let's discuss this. This is one of the topics that will definitely come. I'm not sure which variant, but it may come in your exam because you have got too many stakeholders in your case study. Okay, the way that you should know quite well. So basically, how you manage them. That is that you need to work on. Right? How are you going to manage these guys? How are you going to communicate to them? Right? And you should not be communicating. You should wait till something happens to communicate. Right? You do this in advance on a regular basis. That's you manage them so that they even before when issue happens, manage them. So then they're comfortable with you. They know, yes, something's happened, but not to worry. These guys always inform us. So I don't think it's such an issue. Right? Otherwise, they would have told us immediately. So that's the kind of comfort that you have to give to your stakeholders, the stakeholders. Okay. About ethics, responsibilities, corporate social responsibilities, and organizations' obligations to maximize positive stakeholder benefits while minimizing negative effects in its action. Right. So by trying to get profitability, it does not mean that you have to do it in a very unethical way or cut corners and to achieve a profit. Right. Today, the organizations are punished severely for being unethical or following the CSR code. Okay, and this comes to light even before the regulators state anything. It comes to light via social media pretty fast. Okay, what these guys can do, you can come up with some suggestions as well. Okay. It's an interesting part where they say big businesses have the resources to fight inequalities. What does it mean?
Is as in mix of income between the different income.
This part, business as a fixer for social problems, statement. Okay, well, we'll start with that. What is that? What does PPP mean? Public-private partnerships. Have you heard of that? Yeah. Okay. So business as a fixer for social problems. Can an example, or can you give me anything that can happen?
The opportunities. So.
Okay.
Donations and stuff they do, and for example, there are a lot of companies go out and do a lot of social work, such as lampposts and provide especially for free to these towns and stuff. I think apart from donations, also there's a lot of things that companies do these days.
Actually, the last thing. Why do I say that? Why would be the last thing?
Because at least in Morocco,
yes,
there can be a lot of people in the middle. The middlemen could take up the money, but I think
yes,
if the resources are provided directly, that would definitely benefit them more than just giving them money.
So, talking about the first one, business as a fixer of social problems. So the business has, I mean, if I talk these two functions, that is a fixer as well as the resources, where the business fight inequalities. So business, business, they have a lot of resources, as in not money, more than the money part of it. Yes, they do have the money, but people. Right? Let's imagine, Tarun, in your case, your company is a very large organization. Right? It's a hotel industry. It has people with a lot of skills, right? These skills in the hotels, but they can use these skills in other areas as well. If they come up, if you right, look at a particular village, right, and say, well, can you look at and think about, how they can improve, how they can be sustainable, how they can eat properly, how they can, with their land, how they can basic needs, right? There are lots of things that they can come up with, right? These guys can just go into a place and they will see opportunities for the village to become a profit center by basically promoting tourism, right? And they could look at the land and say, well, you could farm this type of crop, and this is the way you can make really good food out of it. And all of this doing without using huge money. All I'm using only the resources of the land and of the people, right? I'm giving them knowledge I have. Okay, so didn't take money, right? This is purely knowledge I'm imparting to the others who did not have that knowledge. Okay, another thing that just happens is water is a very, very scarce resource, right? Again, we get companies going in and then fixing that problem by digging wells, and women and children do not have to go very far. Sometimes they have to walk miles and miles to get water, right? So that consumes all their life. Whereas you put in a well, it's just like, it's just that they did not have the sufficient power or knowledge how to get activity, and they were not able to get the water, right? So, how to promote their village, how to eat properly. Now, these are basic human needs that can be promoted by, a nation just utilizing their manpower, right? So one of the things that in Australia they used to advocate a lot is they used to get children from socioeconomic background to come and visit organizations, right? So they used to come and visit our organization, which was a top organization listed in the stock exchange. And they encourage a lot of women to participate in organization in this event, where they mix up the children with the corporate executives. So it's very interesting to understand from their point of view, how they see us. And, they always think that these people have from excellent families, they're all rich, they're all gone to fantastic schools from day one, and they are here because of that. Right? And it was very humbling to listen to some of my colleagues talking about their background and where they came from, how they have come up to this level. Right? That kind of was kind of a bulb moment for these kids, where suddenly they realized, oh, I don't have to just follow my parents. Most of them had parents either, they were drunk, they were in drugs, or they have parents. So it's like they always used to think, there's no light at the end of the tunnel, right? So these things, this is how the government and organizations, the schools used to link organizations to children. And seen these things happening.
That's a very good thing.
Mm-hmm. The other thing was, in Australia, the teenage pregnancies are very high. So because of that, they bring in a lot of girls to meet senior people in organizations, females, right? To kind of give them encouragement, to kind of give them motivation, and to see from their angle. And we had things where we had to mentor people, right? Mentor kids, and this is not face-to-face. It is something like this, like a WebEx session. We mentor people and find out, what they're doing and their education, things like that. So again, even if you can, a percentage, if you can take them to the right path, the country in itself achieves a huge advantage, and of course the people, right? Then we sustainability, right? We have in our case, there's a lot of things that we can talk about sustainability because we got so many products that we manufacture and so many manufacturers that we touch, and also if you look at our right, there are many opportunities that we can do things in a very sustainable fashion. So you can link the value chain with sustainability. Okay, make sure you link these two, because this is the first time they have touched value chain. Okay, in a strategic case study, they've done that before. They have gone to a great length to explain, put up that value chain, the diagram, and so on. So for them to do it, they will definitely have questions on this. Right. How are you guys on the value chain, that subject? So
a knowledge of the value chain system.
Yes. First, I want to find out how is your knowledge on the theory part of value chain, and the second one, the application of value chain into your. The third one is the CSR to value chain.
I have the value chain system and the theory part of it. CSR. Knowledge of the theory aspect of the value chain and the model and the whole diagram and stuff, but connected to the CSR part of it.
Okay. To you, Tarun.
Yeah, I have some idea on how to do CSR, like for example, logistics, right? So how to reduce the number of deliveries or number of movements, basically, to the carbon footprint.
Yes.
That should be one of the ways to connect it.
Yes.
And in terms of suppliers and the factory, or like factory and outsourced suppliers, you can have many other things, many things which could CSR, like how your material is procured from whether it's transparent enough, what kind of working conditions are there in factory, the minimum wage, diversity.
Mm-hmm.
So every quadrant or every circle, you can have something or other linked to CSR.
Right. So as a homework, since you are quite familiar with the CSR and value chain, right? Just one slide, if you can put up. Okay, this is my value chain. Other aspects I'm going to be looking into, right? And it's an active kind of thing, and then you can present it back to us, because that way you'll never ever forget it. It's in your mind, and just take it and apply it into your case study, right? This is something that will come in, right? It's our value chain. Value chain is there so much in this case. You have to find ways of using it, because they will be asking quite a lot of questions on this. Okay. So that and triple bottom line, right? That is environmental quality, social justice, economic prosperity. Again, what we're saying is, how can we be good corporate citizens? We can be profitable, but does not mean that we are going to be just profitable and don't consider the environment. Okay, and can't do social work because of what we've got a good asset base. I'm not talking about asset base in a traditional sense and talking about just the balance sheet assets. I'm talking about our people who are an asset to the company, who the non-balance sheet assets, which are the most important thing for the company. And they are the ones who make the difference in this social sustainable activity. They are the only assets that will bring up that social sustainable activities of the company. Right? So I think we have a very good opportunity to use our company assets into increasing that. Okay. Six, again, can play a significant role because we have a lot of opportunities to use ethics and your in your exam, right? Because ethics, you have to know again your 5 areas, the SEMA ethics, and then they may come up in an exam situation where you have to apply them. Well, is it an ethical situation? How can I deal with it? How am I disassociate myself with it? Okay. Then let's to the next chapter. Uncertainty. Now, this is there in our case study quite a bit. The complexity for our case here is we are dealing with different environments. So not only the environments that we are working with or selling the products to, but also environments that we are sourcing our products from. Right. So two things that we have to be we have to consider. Now let's go into the environment. Here we talk about the organization and its environment. Now, environment will have impacts on in our strategies, in our funding strategies, in our selling strategies, right? And operational strategies. So basically, every part of the company strategies will get impacted by this environment. Okay. And it is certainly a risk area, and we have to ascertain and kind of understand how we're going to manage these situations, right? So it's a very, very complex area for us, right? And the key, like, okay, what can we use as a model? 5 forces are there. You should know very well what are the Porter's 5 forces, right? And it's a case of then application of that into your case study. Now, in our case, if you look, you look at the industry, what do you think of the industry SWOT? If you apply the Porter's 5 forces, what sort of industry do you think we are in?
I think the winning power of the customers and the suppliers is really high in our industry, because during that we are highly dependent on the suppliers.
Mm-hmm.
In case them default or something happens, it will be really disadvantageous for us, because we change fashion really fast. So we need them to cooperate with us in a very manner, I would say.
Yeah.
And, it's with the customers also. If the customers do not like our products or something, or if they find us very expensive, that could disrupt our operations, because it runs fast and we won't be able to change them fast as well.
Yes, correct. And 91 million product items, isn't it?
Right.
Yes. Okay.
And considering the set of new entrants, I think in the fashion industry as a whole, there can be a lot of new entrants. Our products are a little, or our way of working is a little different than the others. Like ours is a fast fashion line.
Yes.
I'm not sure how that will. I think our particular line, new entrants would be a little difficult.
Yes.
There wouldn't be so many new entrants.
Because what we have is quite a lot of come in. You need to have a lot of investment,
Right.
and I mean it's not easy to build up 91 million product lines, right? And operate and have this kind of growth just overnight, right? Having said that, we have a lot of competitors in the market. We are not
industry as a whole, yeah, we have a lot of competition.
Correct. Yeah. Right, Tara. Okay. Shall let me go into the other areas. is quite interesting. Strategic intelligence is what a firm needs to know about the environment to enable it to anticipate change and design appropriate strategies to deal with changing environment conditions. This is quite critical for us. Okay, because we need to have information from internal and external sources, because our operation is quite a large operation, right? So we need this kind of a lot of information to work with our suppliers, our friends, what's going on about our customers, about our currency, where is it heading towards, right? So what type of, how would you gather this thing, the strategic intelligence? How will you get it? It's very good to say, yes, we should have strategic intelligence, but how are you going to get it? How is intelligence?
You can do a lot of like market research and stuff.
Yes.
You can do a lot of research, competitor analysis, and product analysis ourselves.
Yes. You are a senior market management accountant who needs a strategic intelligence. How are you going to get this?
Yeah, our database, right? We get regular feedback from the stores, from customers as well.
So what you have to do is design your you are you are the architect of this and data, right? So in your IT systems, intelligence. Where big data plays a role. Okay, you have that in order to get this kind of information. It is critical. So now market research, Swati, because that alone is not sufficient, right? You need to have a lot of information to work with, right? And you may have a completely different, completely separate department looking at this and working on this and providing you information, right? But you need market data, so product data, current political data, environmental data, because you're looking at where should I invest next, where should I move to next, where should I have my next stores, right? So all this information. So what organizations can allow for uncertainty in their strategic decision is to make use of real options, right? It may not make a positive return by itself, but it may open up other potential lucrative projects, which an organization then can take advantage of. This is quite true, right? Where options to make follow investments, options to abandon the project, options to wait. Now, in your case, all projects that you may go into, right, you have to see, well, this, if you have to analyze an NPV, right, or analyze a project, should I get into this project? Just by pure numbers, you can't say, well, you know what, this project is not gonna fly. It's got bad. It's not a good. It doesn't have a good NPV, right? However, you need to think beyond the numbers, right? Think numbers when it comes to investments. That's what this is. Is it a follow-on investment? Options to abandon a project, right? Option to wait. Okay. Any questions on that?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Fine. So that is quite self-explanatory. Where are you now? Where do you want to go? And how you want to basically close the gap, right? How are you going to close it? Then it's important to link to your, in this case, it's important to link to your targets and goals and ascertain, okay, this is where I am. My target profit or my target growth is X, to have like 20 every month or something like that. And then, well, how am I going to do it? How am I going to close the gap? Right? How, right? Forecasting as a technique will be very important for you, because again, going into heavy investments, and also forecasting on trends and sales is important for you to analyze, the profitability, right? Because if you don't forecast, you may run into a lot of problems in the short term as well as the long term, right? Any views on you for this? Talk about NPVs as well, because you're projecting the cash flows of a particular project, right? Let's go. Industry scenarios. This is looking at different. I'm going to a different project, another new project. How does it work, right? And you have a brainstorm with some of the key people. They look at and work with people on the ground, and then say, okay, where are we going to head towards in this case, right? So playing on different scenarios to see, well, what are our risks again, and how to mitigate them. Okay, worth taking that risk. Is it worth going to that particular area? Okay. Anything, Swati, that you can talk about foresight?
Considering that they have a fast-moving fashion line, foresight is like really important to them, because they need to plan exactly place their products, when they need to place their products, what trend. It has to keep in the whole plan, placement and stuff like that. So it becomes really important in the kind of work that Rio does.
Yes, I would say techniques, tools, right? For scenario planning are important because of the industry they are in, right? And this enable them to kind of go through the cycles and see, again, how it will impact the company. Okay. And game theory again is important, because they will look at, if I put in this product in the market, how will the competitors act, right? What would be their reaction? So you need to come up with these strategies and think, how can we, what would be the market reaction? Now, for example, when Etihad had Nicole Kidman coming on and presenting, right, their premium suite, right? What Emirates did was Emirates took on Jennifer Aniston. Look at the YouTube views. Jennifer Aniston views far exceeds Nicole Kidman's views, right? And it's quite interesting to say, but different mentions, and so when they come up with something like that, they definitely should have thought, well, the other airlines, their main competitor would also shoot, right? How would they react to that? What are the things that they would do? Okay. Now, just recap what we did. We've just finished, and we've come into 4 resources and capability. I thought I would be able to, very anxious of me, I thought I will be able to see through this quite quickly. But you can see there's quite a bit that we need to do. But I just want to go through resources and capability. I'm sure I'll be able to finish it off as well today. And it's quite important for us. And let's look at the tools that we can do. Right? Decision audit, I'm not going to be looking into that much. Okay. What value drivers? Right? Important for you to figure out what are the key value drivers for you in this, right? In organization, in this, with, right? So that will be another thing you to kind of do as homework drivers, right? See if you can do a slide on what are the key value drivers for real, right? Okay, so these are your unique selling propositions. This is what you've got. These are the key things that's making Rio tick, and how they're really good at what they're doing. And it's not just about identifying the value drivers and how to keep, right, value drivers and how to maintain. It's another thing to find out how to maintain them, right?
Right. I think value points of Rio would be definitely the designs that they have.
Yeah, what I would ask you to do, Swati, is create a slide for our evening class. Just create one slide. Okay, these are my key value drivers. What I do to maintain them, right? Okay. So you kind of go through it, seeing it, and say, these are my value drivers. This is what I'm going to be doing, right? That's it. Okay. We said about value chain. Try to do something on the value chain and the CSR, which is quite interesting. Let's look at that. And go to supply management. Now, for this supply chain management, it is quite important, right? Because we have very complex supply chains. Why is it so important now? It's strategically important, right? It involves contract, arrange substantial physical infrastructure, right? We can't change them in the short term. So this supply is a strategically important to us, right? And we are reliant on so many others for our products, to getting from and to, okay, right? So we will look into this because I look at strategic supply chain management, right?
What's the difference between value chain and supply chain?
Right. There is quite a big difference because, one second. So it would entail is value chain. You looking at stuff that's inside the organization as well, right? In the value chain. Okay. So management is network, closing links. Right. Network rather than a pipeline of close links and greater cooperation by which the firm aims to manage from the input to the commerce, right? It's the logistics, right? In that chain, it goes beyond that, right? Talking about inbound logistics, outbound logistics in supply chain, right? But this goes right. I would say the value chain is far greater than the supply chain management. Yeah.
So, can we say supply chain is kind of physical in terms of movement, how you map it, and the value chain is basically you look at the value, how it's moving from start to finish.
And it goes across the organization as well, Tarun. You say the support activities, the operation activities.
Because it's resources could be internal, external, right?
Correct. Yes. Yeah. We have the new products portfolio and the new product development as well, right? So for that, in the same responsiveness, reliability, relationships are quite important in the supply chain management, okay? And also have the computer systems all linked, right, in order to link to these things, linked to, our goods. Where are our goods? We're talking 91 million items flowing around, okay? Air, sea, or road, okay? So it's very important for us. Our inventory will be quite high, and it's important us how to manage this, okay? Portfolio, right? Many products with all these complex things going on. New development is also quite important to do. You can't just do a BCG matrix for one product. Kind of be certain lines, and it will be very complex, right? So you need to come up with some different ideas on that. They talk about benchmarking, where we benchmark in areas, right? For organization, right? That what I will do is end the morning class, right? And then we go into identifying, evaluating strategic options. But before that, how I will start our evening class is look at the whole from both of you, right? Then we'll go into some issues that may come up. There are quite a few issues that are there and that may come up in our study. We have touched upon them before as well, but again emphasize it at this class, and we'll try, hopefully we'll have some time to go through the rest of this book, okay? Any questions?
I was just wondering, how you will apply. It's good these materials you're reading, and what are the different courses, different principles.
Yes.
But if any scenario,
I get what you're saying. What we will do is now get familiar with what are the issues, how you're going to apply. So that's why I said, I want you to work on applying the the CSR as well as value chain, bring it to the CSR, see how it's going to be applied, have that, okay? Through that, tell me how you're going to do it. But then when we go into our mock exams, then I will show you the application. Because now, by that time, by February, our classes, we're going straight away into a mocks. I'm going back into this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you will be quite familiar with your case study, with your theories, so immediately you would know how to apply.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Yeah. See you in the evening.
All right. What is that?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.